Everybody, welcome to Valkyrie Productions. This is my first round under this name, I guess. I wanted to start off by making a Mother's Day doll. I got busy, and so now it's going to be a Father's Day doll for my mom. But I think that's okay. I start off by using this Disney Descendants dolls. I'm not exactly sure what her name is. If anybody knows, leave me an answer in the comments. I think that she's wearing the wrong dress though. But I don't know. We'll see what we can do with it. So, like I had mentioned, I wanted to make a doll of my mom. For those of you that don't know, my mom is a widow. My father died of cancer when I was 7. And so I have a lot of respect for my mom. She gave birth to 10 children, and 9 of us were still living at the time that my dad had passed away. And so she really is a saint in my mind because she raised so many children on her own. So what I'm doing right now is the typical steps of removing the head, and I slice open the back of the head this time to remove the hair, because later on you'll see I want to get inside and reinforce the back of the face, because I want to change the shape a little bit, because I really do want to make it look like my mother. But I don't know, I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about her. She's a very funny woman in my mind. She always liked to play games with us from the time we were just little. And the funny thing is, she's almost 76 now, and she still plays Tickle Monster with us. And I'm the youngest, and I'm 34 right now. So imagine my 76-year-old mother, who has had a hip replacement and a knee replacement, chasing me around our house, trying to tickle me. Anyway, that's our mom for you. And she not only does it to her children, but if we ever bring friends by, if she's in the right mood, she might just chase our friends around and play Tickle Monster with them too. It's nothing weird, or like creepy. I guess it is weird, but it's weird in the fun sort of way. So, you know, I've always appreciated that. So what I'm doing here is there's this technique you can do to make hair for your dolls by taking 100% acrylic yarn and break it into the individual pieces, and then you comb it out. Also use a pet brush to do it, and then you just hot iron it, and you get this very soft, fluffy hair. And so that's what I'm going to make for my mom doll right here, and just kind of showing you that. So right here you see the doll after I've already rooted it, and I've put some of the clay inside of the head to reinforce it. Here I'm putting Fabri-Tac glue inside to keep the hair in place. A lot of times when you do use the acrylic yarn for the hair, you actually will just use it to make a wig for your doll. But I decided that I really wanted to root it because I wanted her to have short hair. I've never known my mom to have long hair, not ever in my life. So short hair had to be in the works here. So yeah, that's why I rooted it. But yeah, I split open the head, like I said, so that I could sculpt on the face and reinforce the back of it. I had initially tried a technique of heating it up and trying to like reform it from the inside out using some metal knitting needles and whatnot, but that didn't really work. I think that maybe it would have worked better had I had like a heat gun or something like that. I think that the blow dryer just wasn't hot enough, but that's okay. I decided that I could get a better look using epoxy sculpt anyway. But here I am sealing the head shut, and then I'm going over the glue seam with that dark brown so that you won't see the hair underneath. Like, you won't see the scalp, it'll just look brown like that. And then I'm going in with some yarn and rerooting that in as well so that she doesn't just have a bald spot in the back of her head. You can see the long pieces, and I just go through and I trim that up. So yeah, and then I just continually comb it as I go along, and I keep getting pieces of glue here and there, and so I kind of work that out with the comb, and then I'm taking the hot flat iron, and I'm using that to make her hair nice and smooth. And then, since her hair is graying, because she is 76, I took this fabric marker with white paint in it, and I went ahead and put that all throughout her hair. You'll also notice that I do have some white yarn that I put throughout. My mom is lucky enough to have a pretty dignified looking graying pattern going on in her hair. It just kind of mostly has happened at the temples, and she has fairly brown hair still. I mean, of course it has grayed a little bit, and like everybody gets, but she's pretty lucky that she's still got it going on pretty well there. So, you'll see I've already done a few body modifications that right here, but I decided I wanted to do a little bit more. At first I was going to be a little bit shy with adding some of the padding and fat parts, but you know, I decided I love my mom the way she is, and I think that she's beautiful the way she is, and so I just decided I'm just gonna go for it and make it the best that I can while still working as a doll. And so you'll see right here I'm really just going for it, and then I'll add some more to the body as well. But the biggest thing that we got going on for the face was her nose. My mom inherited her dad's nose, which I probably will inherit one day. And my nose is quite large, and it continues to grow each and every day, but you know what, that's okay. But right here, I'm just I bulked out her cushy parts, but she's fluffy, and that's how I like her. And then I'm just kind of cleaning things up with my Dremel tool right here and sanding things down. So I just kind of want to talk a little bit more about my mom. She is just so neat. We grew up, we honestly didn't have a lot of money, but you know, I never went hungry because we grew up on a farm, and my mom always worked very hard to provide for us all. And so I could appreciate her for that. And the nice thing was that we never felt bad that we didn't have money, because we had each other and we had family. And I felt that that's something that my mom did very, very well, is she helped us to appreciate each other and to love one another. And my brothers and sisters are my best friends in the whole world and my favorite people in the whole world. And so I am appreciative to her for that. Right here, I'm using some pastels, chalk pastels that I have shaved off with a razor blade into this palette, and then I'm brushing it on her body, doing what's called blushing, and just kind of getting that going so that she can look a little less dead. When you look at a body, usually you'll see that like the risen parts of a person's body tend to be more pink. They're flush, and that's where the blood is flowing to. You'll notice like the end of the nose is usually pinker. Places like the cheeks will be pink, and the end of the chin. You'll also usually like to blush in the elbows and in the wrists and on the knuckles of the fingers and such like that. And it just makes a painting or a doll or any kind of artwork that you're doing look more alive if you add oranges and pinks to it. Here's a picture of my mom that I'm using for reference. You can see her face there. And I want to make that outfit too, so I want to look at the whole thing. But there she is. And so now I'm going to start creating her face. And I'm going to use, these are watercolor pencils. Anyway, just going to go in and fill that out. I think a lot of people struggle when doing things like wrinkles on skin and whatnot, because they'll just draw a line and they see wrinkles as lines, but really they're not. Wrinkles have a shadow underneath and then a highlight, and you have to get those in the right places. Usually the highlight will go on the lower fold of the wrinkle, but you also will have a cast shadow there as well. And then on the under part of the upper wrinkle, you'll actually get a nice transition of the shadow instead of just a hard edge. Anyway, I'm just laying it out right here. Later on, you'll see I'll go in with some softer colors so I can get the transitions and it won't just look so much like lines. But anyway, just filling that in. My mom has very pretty blue eyes, and of course, as she gets older, your eyes tend to gray and you lose pigment a little bit. But I wanted to keep some of the freshness of her eyes there as well. And so, I don't know, I kind of struggled with this a little bit, worked back and forth quite a few times, but I think the end product is alright. And we'll see. So my mom, she worked as a home health and hospice nurse for many years. So not only is she a saint because she took care of her children in such a nice, great way, but she also is very caring for the elderly. And she loved her patients so much. And the hardest part for her in working in home health and hospice is when her patients would pass away and when they would die. And of course that is very sad and a very hard thing to do when you love somebody so much and you put so much effort into helping them to be comfortable and to be happy, to just watch them go. It's very difficult. And she actually retired early from doing that a few years ago to move in permanently with my grandparents, her parents, and to take care of them because my grandfather had developed Alzheimer's quite a bit. And my grandmother was getting to a point where she couldn't take care of herself and my grandpa any longer. So she lived with them for about 5 years, taking care of them full time, before we finally moved them to a care center. But they have both now passed on. And now we have my mom back to us, back all to ourselves. And I am very sad that my grandparents are now gone, but we know that their spirits are here with us still, and we can feel of their love. But I just look up to my mother so much because she was so giving and willing to give of her life so that they could have a bit more comfort in their last few years and live in their own home a bit longer. But now it's our turn where we get to take care of my mother. She actually has diabetes, and it's interesting to watch because she is such a nice person, but she's had such a rough, hard life, losing her husband, and she also lost a baby after me. She had another baby, and she lost him right after birth, because that was hard for her. And then when her husband died shortly after that, my dad, of course, that was very difficult for her. Sadly, this last year, we lost one of my brothers. And so she really is always just very strong. And she's just always been such a pillar to me and a strong foundation to lean on. And so, I don't know, in some ways it feels like having diabetes on top of that all. Sometimes it's like, oh, what more will the universe throw at us or throw at my mother? But, you know, she takes it all in stride, and it helps me to learn that I can too. And, you know, also I think that it's not always about us, and it's not like the universe is out to get us or whatnot, but, you know, we can do it, and we can do hard things. But anyway, that's partly one of the reasons I did want to do this mom doll. I didn't have it done on time, but I feel it's appropriate to turn it more into a Father's Day doll, because she was here to act as both parents in a way. And so, you know, I feel that this is something I could do to show her my appreciation for her. And it's just kind of a fun thing. I get to feel maybe a little bit closer to her these days. She just sold her house and moved up closer to me and some of my other brothers and sisters, and now we all live in the same town. And so it's fun to get to hang out again and, you know, just do fun things all as adults. So I always feel very sad when people have a difficult family life and they don't get along with their family. And I always wish that everybody could have friends with their brothers and sisters like I was lucky enough to. But, you know, oh well, I guess we all have our things we have to deal with. So here with this outfit, I actually painted some black fabric. I painted those roses onto it using fabric paint. Just because I really wanted to match this outfit and this picture I've been looking at. And it's a new outfit that she got, and I think it looks really good on her, and she likes to wear it, and so it just screams my mom and is very recognizable, at least in our family. I actually took this doll over to show it to my 4-year-old niece because I wanted to see if it was recognizable at all. And so I asked my niece, "Who is this?" And she instantly said, "Grandma!" Anyway, she wanted me to hurry up and finish the doll because she thinks that she should have it and she'd get to play with it. My mom actually lives with their family right now, until we can get a new house built for her. But so I gave this doll to my mom, and my niece is always wanting to go in and borrow it so that she could play with Grandma. But we're trying to convince her that she can play with the real Grandma, and it doesn't have to just be the doll. But that made me feel kind of happy. That was a fun thing for me. But right here, I'm sewing up the pants, just doing a hand stitching. I actually have a sewing machine, but sometimes I just prefer to sew by hand because I don't know why. Like, setting up a sewing machine sometimes feels like more of a hassle than just stitching it up. Here I've got a pair of shoes from a different Disney Descendants doll, and I cut it off so that it can look like it has straps, like a pair of shoes that my mom has. They're actually wedges with white straps. And so right here you can see I'm filling in between the heel to the padding of the foot so that it's just one solid chunk like a wedge. Be careful when using razor blades, folks. You can see there I've got a band-aid on. I actually sliced my finger while cutting the shoe. I tend to be a little clumsy sometimes, so take it from me. Be careful. Anyway, I'm painting it all over so you don't see the hot glue. And I added a bit of purple to that yellow because it was a bit too yellow, and I wanted it to look a bit more like a tan yellow, more like a yellow ochre than just a straight up yellow. And so letting those dry, and then I'm going to paint the top white, like the white leather straps that my mom has on her shoes. There we go. Seeing these right here. Getting those all filled in. So as soon as we're done with this, then I'm going to glaze them. There's the glaze. Put that over that. Alright. And then do the eyes and the mouth so it looks like she's wearing lipstick. And now we are finished. So I made this little purse out of some leather, and you'll actually notice there are Kleenexes sticking out of the purse. They're not used Kleenexes, but my mom always has Kleenexes all over her. She has Kleenexes in her pockets, Kleenexes spilling out of her purse. She just always has them on her, so of course I had to get that there too. So here you are. Thanks for listening and joining me in on this. I quite enjoyed it, and I actually think that my mom likes it. So it was a fun experience, and happy Father's Day / Mother's Day to all of you out there. Hope you have a great time.